Hello everyone, how we doing tonight? How we doing? Dragon, you are first this time. Congratulations. Hello Doomslayer. Hello Beast. Hi Warlock. How you doing? Doomslayer, I did see it. I'm not religious, but thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate all you guys. I'll take a second just to mention that I appreciate everything that you guys have done for me over, like, today. This past week so far has been kind of shitty. I'm gonna be so honest, it has been pretty shitty. But, you know what, I wouldn't have done it, I wouldn't have it any other way, because I have you guys. Why are you apologizing for being religious? Never apologize for being religious. Never apologize for that. Never apologize. Everyone has their own thing. Everyone has their own thing. I'm not religious. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna make fun of you for being religious. I would never do that. That's a shitty thing to do, honestly. And if people do that, then they are a shitty person and they shouldn't do that. So yeah, thank you though, I appreciate it. Did want to shout out real quick, for those of you that did decide to donate with the Streamlabs link, I really appreciate you guys. You guys, I think you have, let me look actually. Let me look. Let me look. Jesus Christ, you guys. $107. You guys, that's okay, Doomslayer. Don't worry about it. You guys are crazy. I appreciate every single one of you guys who's donated. Let me just rattle off a few names real quick. Patrick, I don't think he's here right now, but Patrick, thank you. Dumbledore Dash, thank you so much. Thank you for the 10. Pizza Penny donated twice, $10 each. Thank you so much. Warlock, I know you're here. Thank you for the 20. I appreciate you. And you know who else I appreciate, guys? I appreciate Warlock's aunt, because she donated 25 bucks. That is crazy. Someone's aunt decided to be like, hey, I'm gonna help this weirdo on the internet out. Thank you. And Warlock, I think I told you this, but tell your aunt I said thank you. I appreciate that more than you could ever know. I know I might not seem it, but I'm blown out of the water right now. Okay. Alright. Have a good night, Warlock, and thank you for telling her. Good old Aunt Carol, yep. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and... I'm too broke, that's alright. I'm not gonna, like, beg and plead for anyone to do it. It was just a little, you know, like, if you can. If you can't, that's totally okay, but if you can, that's okay too. You guys are awesome, and I wouldn't dream of quitting streaming. I do just want to let you guys know that starting next week, I will be probably picking up some extra work at my job, so the stream schedule is probably going to change, and I might stream less next week, and that might be it going forward, unfortunately. But you know, maybe later down the line, maybe it'll change and I'll go back to full-time streaming at night, really. But for now, we're gonna finish out the week, and then I'm thinking I'll probably do Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Probably. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday is my guess. Don't know how to do that. We'll figure it out.
But yeah, that's
think that's about all the news I have right now. Let's go ahead and watch some Warhammer. Why not? All right. So, tonight's first thing is, let me get this up real quick. Let me get, now why are you being weird? Okay. Alright, so, oh shoot, where are you? Where are you? There you are. Alright. Okay. So, first on our list is, let me get this, why are you not, are you kidding me? Are you not gonna, why? Can I get rid of you, please? Here we go. Let me see if that works. I really hope it does. Let me know. I'm just gonna double check. Come on. Are you gonna be that annoying about it? Oh my god, this is so irritating. Let me get rid of you real quick. Yup. Let me get this back. And then I need to, there we go. Okay, awesome. Whoa, hello. Alright. So you were gonna go down a little bit like that so that I can kind of even you out. There we go. And then my little weird self is gonna come right on over here. This is the new Horus Heresy cinematic. I have not watched this yet. Yeah, on console it's pretty hard to do. I don't know. I'm not sure. Alright. So this is the new Horus Heresy cinematic. Again, I have not seen this. So this will be fresh. From what I've seen though, I've seen like screenshots. I see Iron Warriors and Salamanders. And I'm pretty sure I see one of the old, like the original Terminators. I don't like playing 30k. I will never play 30k. But the cinematics are cool. The cinematics are very cool. And the lore's pretty cool too. Ooh, air raid sirens. Spooky.
I was there when he painted this.
Is the volume okay, guys?
An oddity among his schematics and calculations. Yet, they seemed to help him.
Ooh, wait. Is that wait, hang on a minute.
Yet, they seemed to...
Is that Valdor? If I'm remembering correctly, I think that's Valdor. I think that's Constantine Valdor, which is hilarious because in modern 40k, he's not really in it with the Imperium right now. He's kind of doing his own thing, as far as I know.
Help him.
At least in modern 40k.
A way
30K,
he could express the enormity of his plan.
Who is Sisters of Silence?
Not if the legions are successful. It depends on how deep the rot goes.
Oh, here we go. Ooh, hello. Tanks, alright. Hey. What is that, Dreadnought? Or just a turret? I see Iron Warriors colors. Ew. Iron Warriors. Ew. Icky, gross. Ew. Iron Warriors. Ooh, Salamanders. for those of you who didn't know, those guys right there, the Saturn Terminators, those were like the original Terminators. Those like when Warhammer was first, like when 40k was first a thing, those guys, let me get a better picture. These guys here, the Saturn, hang on. That's not a good picture. These guys right here, the Saturn Terminators, these were like the original. Like they had like huge, I mean, they're a little different now to be more modern looking, but the original ones had like huge like shoulder pauldrons. I mean, these ones are still pretty damn big, but they're modest now. They're a little shrunken. They're more modest. So cool. That's so cool. A Saturn pattern. Oh, Saturn Dreadnought. That's really cool.
The attack failed.
Whoa.
How many?
Half of the legions now stand with Horus.
No way! No way! It's fucking. Oh god, what's his name? What? Why am I forgetting his name? Oh god. The guy who sat on the golden throne for like 2 seconds. Fucking god, what's his name? I know it wasn't actually 2 seconds. It was a little while. Saturnine. Okay. Saturnine Terminators with disintegrator guns. Malkador. That's who it is.
Surprised?
In the end, I suppose not.
Malkador.
Do you wonder if they might be right? Many will sympathize with their rebellion.
I am the Emperor's spear. What I think doesn't matter.
What now, then?
We make ready for a war that may never end.
Damn right. To this day, still hasn't ended. That was summer 2025. I will look forward to that. I think there are a few. Let me actually read. I'm gonna bring you guys over to Warcom. If it'll. Okay. Let me bring you guys over to Warcom. There are. Oh, hello. Oh, this is another thing that I wanted to watch with you guys. The trailer for episode 1 of Kill Lupercal. I really want to watch that. All right. Okay, so yeah, Saturnine. Okay, so this is the new box that's coming out. So I want to say the guys, Mark II is like the favorite Horus Heresy era armor. Let me say, it's not my favorite, but it does look pretty cool. Second most powerful Psyker in the galaxy. Nice. You're right, yeah, because he was the one, I think, when the Emperor went to go kill Horus, he sat on the golden throne, right? Am I wrong, or am I right? I don't remember exactly what happened, but I think that's what happened. Okay, so we've got Mark II Crusade armor. Of course, Iron Warriors, yeah. I'm guessing that there's going to be a lot of people using these in 40k as well. A lot of weapon options. That's pretty cool. And then there's this guy, Mark II Centurion, which even if you didn't have it in Iron Warriors colors, it would still look pretty damn cool. Like that, honestly, you could use that for like a Warpsmith. Or like a Tech Marine or anything like that. That looks so damn cool. And that helmet too. That looks amazing. Okay, so it wasn't a Dreadnought. It was just a turret. Quad accelerator platform. Saturnine Terminators. What the? Whoa, Jesus. It worked. Thank you for the subscription, Zachary. That scared the shit out of me. That genuinely scared the shit out of me. I don't know if that came in on my from the desktop or through my mic, but are you allowed to use 30k with 40k? It depends on the model. Like if you were to use like legionary models, so like generic marines, nobody would really care. If you use like certain pieces like helmets or whatever, it doesn't really care. But like for example, like these guys aren't gonna get 40k stats. Because you just have your regular Terminators and you don't get anything else. Okay, so we've got a Saturnine Praetor. We've got your regular Saturnine, then you've got your Saturnine Praetor. Then you've got your Saturnine Dreadnought, which looks pretty damn gnarly. Looks really cool. Then you've got your rulebook. Yeah. Drop site preview. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's everything in the box here. This is a good box. I really like the look of all this stuff. I'm not gonna buy it, obviously, but because I'm never gonna play 30k. But oh, there's also. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for Death Guard, right? I forgot that. A lot of Death Guard. A lot of Death Guard. Oh, my model just froze again. I love that. A lot of Death Guard stuff uses that mark as well. But yeah, Iron Warriors, Death Guard, that's going to be a lot of it. Normal Space Marines from 30k and use at 40k. Yeah, you will probably have to do a little bit of kit bashing. Because like certain weapons might not be viable, like depending on like what the models come with. Like let me look actually. So it looks like you have like your bolt guns. Or bolters. Sorry, apparently there's a difference. Disintegrator weapons. So for this right here, disintegrator weapon. Okay, pistols, rifles, blasters, and heavy disintegrators. You could probably use those as like melt-a-guns or like plasma weapons, I guess. I don't really know. It's all really just proxying. A lot of it just ends up being proxying, unfortunately. There are certain models that used to have 40k stats that were in 30k. There are certain models that were supposed to get 40k stats for 30k that never got them, like Kabanda. I'm still huffing a lot of copium that maybe he'll get 40k stats, maybe. He probably won't, but I really want him to because he's such a good model. Originally, there's a Magnus would be used for the Astronomicon for the human webway. Then when he fucked up, the Emperor had to sit to keep everything going. Okay, that makes sense. These guys right here, the Saturn pattern Terminators, they're big enough where honestly, I can see people using those as like Centurions or Obliterators. Could like Iron Warriors Obliterators, like these would go so hard for Iron Warriors Obliterators. Like just look at that. Like that looks so cool. Like genuinely. Like there's so much you can do with that. Like that is just like Obliterator material right there. That is Obliterator material. I don't really know what else you could use any of this other stuff for, but there are certain things that you can absolutely look and use. Eradicators. What are those guys again? I don't remember what those are. Are those the are those like the okay, they're just heavy. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. 100%. 100%. Trying to get my research. Yeah, there you go. Yep, research, very important. You want to know what you're buying before you buy it. Definitely, because you don't want to get stuck with models that you can't use. I totally get that. Alright. So next up for tonight,
I am all again.
Hello. We're watching some Kill Lupercal trailers. So this is the trailer for episode 1, and then there's like a bigger trailer for like the whole series, I guess. So we're gonna go ahead and watch especially 30K. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and watch this one here.
I am all
It's
again.
only like 30 seconds.
You know me. By the grace of the Holy Omnissiah,
Oh, Mechanicus.
I am your princeps.
Nice. Okay.
We will walk together, you and I. Perhaps for the last time.
Ooh. Kill Looper Call. Alright. The God Machines Walk. So is this gonna be like a night show? Because I remember they did a night like mini series a little while ago. I don't remember what it was called. But it was like Nurgle Chaos Knights versus normal Chaos Knights. Okay, so this is the full trailer. I might need to restart my Warhammer Plus subscription, depending on how this looks.
We are losing, and losing badly.
Losing badly. Got it. Hey!
Nothing is true anymore.
What is unfortunate is how I remember a lot of people were complaining about how like the humans looked in that last like night show, and it is pretty unfortunate to me that these look almost exactly the same.
We work with what we have, or we die. I am all Agamemnon. You know me. I am your princeps. I would walk with you.
Poor Imperial Fist.
Perhaps for the last time.
That is a really cool shot right there. Oh. Oh, vocals. Hello.
We
there's
could
Horus.
end this war, Orla.
Kill it!
Huh. Okay. Interesting. Alright. Yes, knights are piloted by one person. Like, the bigger, like, titans are, like, multiple people. But knights are one person. Let me just look around real quick. Oh my god, why does my model freeze like that? It's so annoying. Titanicus, yep. Yeah. And Titanicus is its own game, which I don't know what a lot of people that play that. Hey, look, there's my stream. But what is Supremacy? What is that? Oh, is that a game? Is that some game? Okay, what else is in the drop site preview? Is the drop site preview just the new 30K stuff? And that new show? I don't know. Do you guys want to watch the full drop site preview? Oh, damn it. Do you guys want to watch the full drop site preview? Iron within, iron without. All right. Hello, Archive. How you doing? All right, let's go ahead and watch the full drop site preview.
Mysterious
Let's go ahead and watch it. Unless you guys have any better ideas. All right. Let's go ahead.
For nearly 40 years, the Horus Heresy has underpinned the lore of the Warhammer 40,000 setting. A once mysterious reference has grown and evolved to become one of the best-loved aspects of the entire Warhammer hobby, spawning multiple games, a best-selling series of novels, and of course, many hundreds of glorious Warhammer miniatures. And here's how it all began. 1987. the Horus Heresy appears as a snippet of text squirreled away in the Book of the Astronomicon, a supplement for Rogue Trader. 1988, the tabletop battle game Adeptus Titanicus, featuring epic battles between Titan legions, is released. The game is set within the Horus Heresy. In the following year, Space Marine, another epic-scale game, emerges, putting the warriors of the Legiones Astartes on the battlefield in massive numbers. 2003, the Horus Heresy collectible card game debuts. It features many hundreds of illustrations of the Horus Heresy on the game cards, and also details the events of the heresy through lore included within the packs. 2006, Black Library embarks on the ambitious plan to tell the events of the Horus Heresy in fiction.
I still need to read these books. I've read, like, snippets from certain novels, yeah, I've seen some of, like, the Titanicus stuff, and it's so weird to me because you have, like, the big Titans that are, like, as big as, like, your, like, normal scale knights, and then you have your normal, like, your quote-unquote normal knights, which are, like, little tiny, like, Astra Militarum guardsmen sized, which is so weird to me. I don't know why. It's just so weird to me. I don't think they're, like, that small, but they're pretty damn small. Horus Rising first. Okay, so, like, go in order? Should I just, like, go in order?
Best-selling series goes on to include 54 volumes from many of the greatest writers ever to handle Warhammer fiction. 2012, Forge World unleashes the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness.
Oh, boo, boo, Forge World, boo. No, ick. I've heard many bad things about Forge World, and how it just sucked.
Along with an accompanying range of incredible new miniatures.
I mean, the miniatures look good, but it was a whole thing that was like, whoa, you want your Warhammer models? You can either go to Warhammer.com or you can go to ForgeWorld.com for some reason. And it was weird because, like, you had, like, the boring club, and then you had, like, you want to be cool and spend your life savings? Or spend even more of your life savings? Go to Forge World with resin. Ugh.
Warriors and war machines of the heresy. 2015, the Betrayal at Calth board game, including the first new plastic models for the Horus Heresy in a generation. 2018, the setting returns to its roots as the Warhammer Studios unveils a new edition of Adeptus Titanicus.
Which books can I skip?
2019, the galaxy-spanning story told through the Horus Heresy novels reaches its peak, culminating in the Siege of Terror series. 2022, a new edition of the Horus Heresy game is released, Warhammer, the Horus Heresy Age of Darkness. Boasting incredible new plastic kits and refreshed rules, this edition reaches more fans than ever before. 2023, Legions Imperialis bursts onto the scene, allowing battles between the Legiones Astartes, the Titan Legions, and more, with small-scaled miniatures on truly incredible modular battlefields. And that brings us to today, the 23rd of May, 2025. Welcome to this Warhammer preview and the celebration of the Horus Heresy.
All right. Okay. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this very special Warhammer preview. My name is Adam Troke. I'm joined by my colleague and friend Eddie Eccles.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to talk about Horus Heresy.
Absolutely. Welcome, everybody, to the Warhammer, the Horus Heresy drop site preview. We're here for about an hour or so to give you the lowdown on a load of amazing new Horus Heresy reveals. Okay. Before we do, I should introduce the third member of our broadcast team. Let's throw the camera over to the Lore Master, Alex Doddy, in Question Corner.
Hey, it's this guy.
Hiya. So because we're live today, we are going to be taking questions. However, there are many thousands of you in the chat. So if you put questions all in caps at the start, I've got a better chance of catching it. Brilliant. All right, so the way this is going to work is we have absolutely loads of great Horus Heresy stuff to show you. We've got some videos, we've got some pictures of some new miniatures. We might have a little bit of a discussion about rules.
Ooh,
loads of really
on,
good
Zach?
Heresy stuff.
What are you
so
working
stay
on?
tuned, there's loads of stuff.
Are you building or are you painting?
If you're a fan of Horus Heresy already, you're in for a treat. If you are new to the Horus Heresy and are Horus Heresy curious, you are very welcome. And we hope you find an amazing new setting and game to enjoy.
Now, we can see the chat is busily filling up, so while everybody files in and gets their space ready for the drop site preview, It's always worth just doing
SMG.
a couple of questions out there. And my first question, I always like to ask this when we're doing a preview, is where in the world are you tuning in from? If you could let us know in the chat, it's always good to get a sense of where the Warhammer community is piling in from. We'll get Alex to give us the lowdown on where you're all from. It's always nice to know.
Yeah, and just while you're introducing yourselves in the chat, Adam, have you got any Horus Heresy hobby on your table at the moment?
So this is the golden question, right? So I have a Horus Heresy army. I do First Legion Dark Angels, as I do for more or less everything. And I've got about 2,000 points of them. But I'm having a bit of an existential crisis because I want to try something new. You will see, I'm repping Iron Warriors colours today.
Some big arrows.
I fancy trying some Iron Warriors. But the jury is out. So possibly, if you've got a Legion that you recommend in the chat, shout it out. We'll maybe hear some suggestions to course the show.
If you think Adam should choose Iron Warriors, or if you think there's another Legion would be better suited for him, by all means, pipe up in the chat. I myself have got some white scars on the hobby table at the moment. Fantastic. I've never painted a white army before, so I'm quite looking forward to it.
You often paint black, don't you?
Yeah, I always end up kind of gravitating towards the guys in black armour because they've got, there's some pretty cool choices out there.
First Legion.
But I thought I'd try white scars because I like the colour scheme. I think is very cool, and I like the idea of lots of guys on jet bikes flying around.
Perfect. Well,
white scars are very unique.
Let's go over to Alex and find out where everybody's calling in from.
From every corner of the world, America, Brazil, Switzerland, Sweden, Australia, a couple of people from Nottingham, plenty of people from over in the Dallas Open.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, all over. They seem to think that you should probably stick with Dark Angels.
Stick with the Dark Angels. I mean, why break the habit?
We'll see how you feel at the end of the preview.
Iron Warriors.
Yeah.
I would rather choose Iron Warriors
you
over Dark
towards
Angels.
A certain allegiance or otherwise.
I like it.
The fandom is at least a little more bearable.
We shall see. Yeah, thanks. And it's really great to have you wherever you're from. We love it when the Warhammer community feels truly global. So this is a special time for us.
Yeah.
Right. So. I guess what we should do is, Eddie's already said how the run of this is going to go. Over the next hour or so, we're going to preview all sorts of great Horus Heresy content. There'll be some reveals of things that you've never seen before, and it should be a very exciting time for everybody. But what better way to kick off a preview like this than with a brand new animated cinematic trailer?
Was this the one that we saw? Yeah.
I was there when he painted this.
We can just watch this again. It's a very nice trailer.
An oddity among his schematics and calculations.
Very nice trailer.
Yet, this seemed to help him. A way he could express the enormity of his plan.
Paint upon glass. Is the 16th? I'm trying to remember. Was the 16th? Was that the Sons of Horus? I think so. Was it the... Yep, okay. Shatter the Gilded Lie. Okay.
Not if the legions are successful.
Well, that truly ended. No.
It depends on how deep the rot goes.
Pretty deep. Okay, I was right. Yeah, it's Sons of Horus. And these guys here are Iron Warriors and Salamanders. Stunning, absolutely. I don't understand how you can have such good-looking, like, cinematic, like what you have, like, with these ones, and you have, like, with these guys here, how they look so good. And then when you have, like, the shows, like, I get it, I understand that the shows take longer to make and they're more resource intensive, so they're more likely to use, like, the slightly lower quality stuff for their shows. But, yeah, Salamanders is 18th. But I don't know, it's just, like seeing, like, you see these... And then you see, like, that night show, and then you see, like, Kill Lupercal, and it's like, I don't know. You got this guy just rising from the dead. Hey, the big boys. watched on a TV. Thank you. Look, Ma, I made it. I'm on TV. So cool. That is such a cool.
How many?
Half of the legions now
Malcador.
stand with Horus.
You're surprised?
In the end, I suppose not. Do you wonder if they might be right? Many will sympathize with their rebellion.
I am the Emperor's spear. What I think doesn't matter.
What's really funny, so you hear that, and then you take into account what Valdor's whole deal is right now, and it's like, that's character development if I've ever seen it.
What now, then?
We make ready for a war that may never end.
And it never does. Never does. Different studios. Oh yeah, that's true actually. That's a good point. I'd never considered that for some reason.
What an incredible way to kickstart the announcement of a new edition of Warhammer Horus Heresy. Eddie, what can you tell us about the trailer?
Absolutely. So that was the brand new Horus Heresy cinematic trailer announcing the new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy and the new box set which is on its way, which is Saturnine. Very cool. And before we talk too much about this box set, let's just take a moment to have a chat about what we just saw in that cinematic trailer. Lots of very cool stuff there, from the Palace of Terror to the Black Sands of Istvan. We saw some new units we've never seen in action before, some new characters, some new places we've never been before. Adam, did you have a take?
Yeah, I do. And it might be a surprise or not, depending on how you felt about the trailer. But for me, it's the Iron Warrior Centurion. He's the star of the show, as far as I'm concerned. Absolutely owning his ground. Brilliant ambush against the Salamanders, and then charging off to take on the Saturnine Dreadnought.
Oh, for their eagle things?
I think for me,
wait, what? Really? For their wait, okay, hang on. I need to look at this. I need to look at this now. That's super interesting. Oh, why is the volume going down? I didn't want the volume to go down. That is super interesting. I have to look at this again. That's a big old... I need to go back to where I'm like super curious now. I want to see that. That is really interesting. Why? Why is that? Why is that? That is really interesting. That is really interesting. I never even noticed that. Okay, where were we?
Charging off to take on the Saturnine Dreadnought. Amazing. Loved it.
I think for me, seeing Terra was very cool. So
Yeah.
we've never been there before. We've never kind of had any glimpses of it outside of the excellent fiction from Black Library, of course. But a chance to see the Imperial Palace.
The scale of it.
Yeah, it's huge.
Like when you have that shot over Malcador's shoulder and you can see in the distance there's like a little ship flying along, and you realise that's like 1/2 kilometre long in its own right. Just amazing, yeah.
Yeah, it's very cool. And I think definitely a trailer to pick over in detail. So that will be up on all of our various social media channels very soon. So if you want to rewatch that and pause it and soak in all the glorious detail, you absolutely can. But the trailer is only, of course, the herald of...
Right, I forgot that was a thing. I forgot that the reason why the Aquila has 2 heads is because of the treaty with Mars. I forgot about that.
Greater Things, which is the brand new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy, launching with this new box, Saturnine.
Very
we've
exciting.
Obviously never seen before.
Yeah, you'll have never seen this anywhere ever. Any rumours would have just been hearsay, I imagine.
Should we crack
do the honours. Do the honours.
The leaks.
There we go. And first thing to say is this. It is a heavy, hefty box. You can see it's absolutely packed to the brim with plastics. There is loads of new cool stuff in there.
There are a few things that we'll just cover off the bat, right? It has a range ruler. That will probably come as a surprise to nobody.
That's pretty cool.
And it does have, if you are a fan of the Horus Heresy game, you will already be familiar with these. But it has blast markers and my favourite, the Flamer template. Great for dealing with the enemy.
Will enjoy that.
Anybody who likes setting fire to the enemy.
Let's dive in, right? So the first new plastics. This is a Mark II Crusade armour Space Marines. There are 4 of these frames in the box, and each one of these boxes makes you 10 Crusade Armor Space Marines. As you can tell, they are gloriously multi-part with loads of different options available.
Yeah, those look beautiful.
You can build them in a variety of different ways. The ones on the screen right now are made up as tactical legionaries. So these are the guys you have kicking around in big squads, firing lots of bolter shots. And these are kind of the line troopers, Crusade Armor, named, of course, after its performance in the Great Crusade.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is an iconic silhouette for any Space Marine Legion force. As you said, there are 40 tactical legionaries in this box, and you can build them in different ways. In a moment, we'll shift you over, and you'll be able to see some of the other options that come. There you go. So one of the things that this set contains is obviously all the command options you need for your Vexilla and your
Sergeants.
And Vox. So everything you need to make full squads. And quite excitingly, they also contain some special weapons. I have a frame here if you want to have a look at it, or maybe we'll put them up on the screen. So these are legionary veterans with disintegrator weapons. So if you've not seen disintegrator weapons before, these might be familiar if you're old enough to remember a model that was released around the time of Rogue Trader. I think it was LE02. And there's been a redo. Here you go. You can see the frame in my hand. So the set contains frames of these, so you can equip, I think it's up to 20 of the models as full squads of legionary veterans armed with disintegrators.
You get, effectively, these smaller guns here are disintegrator rifles, and you've got enough of those to have 20 legionaries with disintegrator rifles. But you can also upgrade some models in the squad to have heavier versions of them. You've also got things like combi disintegrators in the mix as well, and all sorts of
stuff. Absolutely. And if you're wondering, they are extremely dangerous weapons. There's some risk and reward to how you use them, but fantastic for some serious punch for your Legion warriors.
Just those, if you want to do like a lot of the other weapons in games of the Horus Heresy are also compatible with lots of across the wider Space Marine range. So if for some reason you really didn't like Crusade armor, although that's crazy because everyone loves Crusade armor, you could also put those disintegrator weapons on Iron Armor troops or Mark 6 or any of the other Space Marine kits you've got. It's one of the really nice things about the Horus Heresy miniature range for Space Marines is that it is so compatible across all the different kits.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're showing them for the most part in the colours of the Iron Warriors and the Salamanders Legions. But you can paint this, the concepts of this entire box set however you like. You can see here some just beautiful examples that the studio painting team have done of other colour schemes. Some legions in particular, so the White Scars, for example, were famed for Crusade armour in the Great Crusade era. So you can really sort of stick your own character into your collection.
Yeah, but absolutely every legion did have Crusade armour at some point. Some of them were more fond of it than others and stuck with it longer, but certainly you can paint them in all the different colours, which you can see on the screen now. Any of those particularly take your fancy, Adam? Any favourites?
Well, this is the problem, is why I'm having such an issue, right? Is that basically all Space Marines look great. I do like the simplicity. I do like the simplicity of the Fourth Legion, though. It's good and robust.
Let us know in the chat, guys, if you've got a favourite from the ones.
Oh, Word Bearer looks amazing.
They all look amazing. That's the point.
Right. While we're talking about Mark II armour, we should bring your attention to the next of the frames within the kit. This is the Mark II armour Centurion, who is there we go, who is the commander you saw essentially in the cinematic trailer a little while ago. This is a great kit. It makes your Centurion. He has a combi melter that you saw in action actually, and a power maul. He has a Cyber Familiar, great banner for all of your Legion.
I didn't see any Alpha Legion. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see any Alpha Legion. I did not see any Alpha Legion in there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I did not see any Alpha Legion.
Heraldry.
Suspicious.
And quite excitingly, he has a second head option, so if you want to build him as a different option, you can.
And the fact that the head is separate as well means you can obviously interchange that with lots of other kits too. But a very cool, imposing looking character. The size of that mace as well is fairly imposing too.
That's a big one.
A very nice little piece.
I'm pretty high on that model as it goes. While we're talking about the things that are in the kit, I should bring your attention to the Arachne weapon platform. Oh, there you go. I knew I was going to bungle something. So this is across two frames. It's a really substantial kit. There you go. Eddie, do you want to stick the one with the guns in? That's a bit more exciting, isn't it?
So this has got the same weapons that you see on the Sakaran tanks.
That's
but
right.
It's got twice as many of them. So if you've ever had to face a Sakaran in games of Horus Heresy, you'll know that they're fairly
there we go.
decent
No,
against
not.
almost any
I am
target. It's a very
Alfarius.
flexible gun that can just make a mess of pretty much whatever it points at. This has got twice
Which
as many of those
Alpha Legion Chaos
weapons,
Swords
so
gave
you
you
plonk
your
these on a
job?
nice defensible position somewhere in your battle line and just
Alfarius
dominate
give
the
you that
battlefield
job?
and kind of
Because
control
Alfarius
the
gave me my
fields of fire.
It has a couple of things going for it. One is the way you can drop it down into battle, and the other is it has an adamantic purveyance. If you're familiar with those, maybe you've used radio dreadnoughts or things in the past, that gives you some really useful defensive benefits, and I can quite imagine lines of these just pouring shots into the enemy, a bit like in the trailer.
Absolutely.
Right, so that is half of what's in the box set in terms of the miniatures. Yeah, so numerically more, but an equal number of the kits. So the other half is what gives the box set its name, which is the Saturnine stuff. And before we show you the Saturnine models, let's show you a little something on what Saturnine actually is.
Okay, here we go.
Saturnine Tactical Dreadnought Armor is the heaviest and most advanced suit of armor in the Imperium. Its origins are shrouded in mystery, but it is known to have originated in the tech enclaves of Saturn. There are records of Saturnine-clad warriors as early as the late Unification Wars and the First Battle of the Great Crusade. Complexities of its production meant that it was soon overshadowed by the more numerous Cataphracti and Tartarus pattern suits.
Cataphract, these guys look cool, but Cataphracti will always be my favorite Terminator design. These guys, they just look so cool. I love just the flat pauldrons. It just is so cool.
Complexities of its production meant that it was soon overshadowed by the more numerous Cataphracti and Tartarus pattern suits. Saturnine armor was already fading into legend by the dying days of the Great Crusade. That was until the Primarch Vulcan took it upon himself to unlock the secrets of this venerable technology. He was successful, and, ever the loyal son and brother, gifted his findings to all legions. So it was that as heresy erupted across the galaxy, Saturnine technology was turned against the Imperium that it was forged to protect. A warrior in Saturnine plate is a formidable opponent. Though ponderous, they are immune to most enemy attacks, and themselves wield some of the most lethal Legion portable weaponry ever devised. The Saturnine siege dreadnoughts take this durability and destructive potential even further. Those interred are required to be of an especially disciplined mind. But for those that can master it, there are few foes that can stand before their wrath.
Vulcan's Gift, okay.
Welcome back. That was a good little primer on what Saturnine is, and we got to see, a little bit of what it looks like. Let's delve into the models.
Yeah, here we go. So we'll kick off with the Saturnine Terminators. I've got one of the sprues here. So you get 2 of these sprues in the box, and each one of these will give you 3 Saturnine Terminators, so 6 total across the box, and they have a variety of different weapons. As you heard from the video there, they are very powerful, but very quite rare, I suppose, in armies. So certainly at the time of the Drop Site Massacre, they were just being reintroduced en masse, so certainly not as numerous as the other marks of Terminator armor, but more powerful, more devastating, able to carry better weapons, and more able to resist enemy fire. So a very powerful unit.
Yeah, speaking of those weapons, this kit has 3 sort of main weapon options. As you can see, each Saturnine Terminator has 2 main weapons. So here you can see they have the heavy disintegrators and the disruption fists. The weapon kit also includes plasma bombards, which you can see here. Now, the interesting thing about them, if you look at the one on the right-hand side as you look at the screen, he's got 2 plasma bombards. These can be used on either arm, so you can swap them around. The kit contains 6 Terminators and 18 weapons, 6 of each of the main weapons. So essentially, you could do, for example, 3 with double plasma bombards, or 3 with double heavy disintegrators, or you can put the...
To be fair, Warhammer has always been a little over the top. I mean, I remember when I first saw Terminators, I was like, these look goofy as hell. But, I mean, you kind of grow into it. you kind of grow into it over time, I guess. I mean, the original Saturnine art was like so goofy, like let me find like let me find old art. Old Warhammer art is always really goofy. Cause like that, for example, like they used to have like huge freaking pauldrons. Like they were even bigger than like nowadays. Like they're a little more tame, but they used to be like absolutely enormous. They used to be absolutely huge. But yeah, it's definitely is a little goofy at first.
Disruption fists in. The disruption fists are always on the left. I'll leave it to you to work out the best armament. And here you can see some just beautiful examples of alternative paint schemes for different legions that have been done by the Warhammer painting studio.
Yeah, I mean, so again, you can have these in any of your legions. They look good in almost any colour. You've got lots of lovely armour plates there to kind of show off your painting skill. The Salamander ones have obviously got that beautiful kind of volcanic look to them. The White Scars one there showing off what you can do with lovely Legion heraldry. But yes. Yeah,
and if you're wondering how these are going to fit into your existing army, if you're already a player, Saturnine armour is more durable. The weapons are extremely powerful. They're well protected. They have thermal diffraction fields, and they can fire both weapons thanks to the advanced powerful systems. So when you consider the plasma bombard, which is essentially an indirect fire plasma cannon,
I did see a
you can imagine the potential for wreaking havoc on the enemy.
Yeah, so alongside your squads of Saturnine Terminators, you'll obviously need someone to lead them into battle, and the box set has got one of those as well. This is a Praetor in Saturnine Terminator armour, and he's absolutely jam-packed with detail, and also quite a lot of options on the sprue as well. You've got choices for how you want to put them together. That is the sort of out-of-the-box Salamander version of him, and you can see he has an absolutely enormous hammer, which is about twice the height of a Space Marine, so you'd imagine that makes a mess when it hits.
Yeah, so he's holding a Saturnine Disruption Hammer. The kit contains two options for the sort of the faceplate of the hammer. In terms of other options, there are two options for the lanyard. There's two options for sort of his tabard. Four options for the head. And here you can see the other major option, which is there's also a Saturnine War Axe.
Okay.
This model in particular, I think, is just one of the most impressive Space Marine miniatures I've ever seen. Whoever painted it and posed it has done an amazing job.
Yeah, I think these guys are very, very powerful in game as well. So in Warhammer, the Horus Heresy, as well as Space Marines, you also have the demigods of battle walking around. You have like Primarchs and demons and all sorts of things that you might have to come up against. A Praetor in Saturnine Terminator armor is pretty much as tough as you can make a Space Marine get. So in terms of stat line and damage output and things like that, he is approaching the level of some of the Primarchs and that sort of thing. So
yes, you're going to think twice before you fight him with anybody, aren't you?
Yes, absolutely. They are very, very powerful, and they look great as a centerpiece kit. If you've decided that you don't want to have a Primarch leading your army, and if you want to represent a legion or a chapter that isn't fighting alongside one, or if you just want to have another bruiser in your force alongside a Primarch, it's a great thing to add in.
So we should probably go to what, for many people, I think is going to be the centerpiece kit in Saturnine, which is the Saturnine Dreadnought. This comes on a variety of frames. Like we can't possibly get more than at once.
Look at them all.
But this is essentially an upscaled version of the Saturnine armor that you've seen up till now. It is the largest and most powerful dreadnought in the armories of the Legiones Astartes, and it towers above other dreadnoughts. In terms of what it's armed with, it has disintegrator cannons. That's that enormous gun on its left arm, and it has a heavy plasma bombard on its right arm, and it can fire both. This is a real heavy-duty war machine. Again, it has that same thermal diffraction field to protect it from injury. It's mounting sort of point defense weapons in its chest armor. This is a real bruiser.
Yeah, a huge amount of firepower on this thing as well. Even more firepower than you could expect from some of the other very large dreadnoughts that you get in the Horus Heresy, so even more than things like the Leviathan dreadnoughts and some of the big Custodes ones. It is a powerhouse. It's pretty much the most powerful walker that you can have in a Space Marine Legion army, approaching the level of some of the knights and things like that. So definitely a great addition to any Space Marine army.
Yeah, in those chest-mounted weapons, I was trying to remember the name of it. It either is two photonic incinerators or it's twin concussion resonators. We'll
Have fun
tell you what
remembering
those
those
do in
names.
articles in the future, but they're a bit like, in effect, flamers,
yeah, dude.
but they each have their own
Such a cool
special
model.
effects on top, so they use the
Such a
template
cool
weapon marker, and they're very nasty if you get too close.
So that is all the miniatures from the Saturnine box set. I think we might have a nice shot of all of them together somewhere to show you kind of how it all looks when it's all laid out together. There you go. There it is. Beautiful.
Oh
so we have painted this box set up in two colours. We have the Salamanders on one side and the Iron Warriors on the other. We'll let you in on a little secret. If you want to buy this box and paint them all one colour, you can absolutely do that. And it actually gives you a really solid start to a Space Marine force. That is a pretty much self-contained, medium-sized Horus Heresy army ready to go straight out of the box.
There you go.
Perfect. So, with all of the miniatures in Saturnine covered, I think it makes sense for us maybe to see if there's any questions bubbling up in the chat. Let's throw over to Question Corner with our Lore Master. Alex, what have we got?
There are indeed. There's a lot of
Alex.
excitement,
I love Alex.
particularly about the Saturnine.
He's so
just
cinnamon
nipping back to the Mark II, do they work with all the other kits, like the heavy weapons, special, melee?
That's a really good question. If we didn't cover it off clearly enough, yes, the special weapons and heavy weapons that are already within the plastic Horus Heresy range are completely compatible with those. I've seen some; they look great. So yeah, you've got a lot of variety.
There's a lot of people liking the veterans with the disintegrators. How many of those come in the box?
So there's 40 Mark II
get a whole army.
legionaries. You can build them as the veterans with disintegrators, and I think I wouldn't want to bet my life on it, but I think you can make 2 full squads of 10 with all the disintegrators.
You can absolutely do that. You actually,
and you'll have some spares after.
You will end up with some spares, so you can do 2 full squads of 10, and every single person has a disintegrator rifle, but you also have heavy disintegrators that you can add in as well, and things like combi disintegrators. So you have about 28 disintegrator guns that you can put on Mark II Space Marines.
Perfect.
So lots of people asking who can use Saturnine. Same question regarding the whole box. There's no like sculpted Legion-specific iconography on them at all.
So that's a really good question. So any Legion can use any of the stuff in this box. It's almost designed that way, so you can paint it up in whatever colour you like. There are a few of the kits that have certain aesthetic elements on them that look a little bit more traitor or a little bit more loyalist. So if you really want lots of eagles and scroll work, some of the kits have more of that. And then there's an option to swap it out for more chains and more kind of eyes of Horus.
Where those parts exist on the kits, they are the optional parts. Yeah. So you can sort of tailor your force a little bit more. But very much, this is a box set that any Space Marine Legion army could make full use of. I should also add, just in case the question who can use Saturnine should interpret it differently, one of the great ironies of Vulcan's beautiful gift to all of his brothers was that he sent Saturnine armour to all of the legions.
He's a really generous guy.
And so
really nice.
it's a bit sad that it was then used against him on his bad life.
There's a lot of release-related and rules-related questions, some of which will be answered.
We might have some
on.
rules later. Who knows? Who knows?
And the final one, somebody was asking, how does the Arachne compare to the Tarantula? And several people asked, can we have a Leviathan for scale? And I think we do have some things to compare.
We do have some things for scale. So it just so happens that we have some of the models here. So we'll start off with the Arachne Quad Accelerator platform. And I think we'll compare this in size to one of the Mark II Legionaries.
He looks so wee.
So that is about the size of it. So it is certainly considerably larger than the Tarantulas that you might have been expecting. You can see the size of those accelerator cannons are themselves about 3 times as long as a Space Marine each. So you can imagine that when they hit, they can make a mess of pretty much anything. So that is a fairly formidable gun platform there. It's a lot bigger than a Tarantula. In terms of how they compare to some of the other things, we also have a Saturnine Terminator.
Big
so if you're wondering how big these are compared to a standard Space Marine Legionary, you can see that they are a good, almost twice the height actually by the time you've factored in all of the size of them, and certainly in mass, considerably larger.
So those are a little
and we
bigger
also have
than, like, normal
how a
Terminators.
Saturnine Terminator compares to one of the current Tartarus Terminators.
Okay, so they're way bigger.
So I think to bear in mind when you look at this, obviously, is that it's bigger armour. A lot of that height is in the shoulder armour, where the thermal diffraction fields and the technology that allows it to make teleport strikes exists. But these are towering suits of armour.
I've also got another little heavy disintegrator there. On the
always jolly. We should show you how the Praetor compares.
Absolutely, yeah. So the Praetor is a very large, imposing-looking model. Here he is compared to Saturnine Terminator and one of the current Tartarus Terminators. And one of the things we said earlier on is that the Saturnine armor for the Praetors actually allows them to go toe-to-toe with some of the kind of big hitters of the Horus Heresy, the Primarchs and things. So we've actually brought along Vulcan himself to give you a comparison about how big those Saturnine Terminators are in comparison to something like a Primarch. He is good. So the Primarch himself, obviously, in terms of stature, is still significantly larger, but you can see that the kind of additional armor plating afforded to the Praetor in that Saturnine plate certainly makes his presence on the battlefield almost as imposing as a Primarch, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Pretty cool. All right. I think we had some questions about the size of the dreadnoughts as well. Can we have a Saturnine versus things for scale? So we'll keep Vulcan there just so we can get a sense of size. There he is with one of his finest creations, the Saturnine dreadnought. There we go. So you can see even a Primarch standing next to one of these things is dwarfed by the size of the Saturnine dreadnought, absolutely towering over him. We have a few of the other dreadnoughts to kind of show you the scale. Vulcan, thank you so much for showing up, Vulcan. I'll see you later. Have a great time on Istvan. This is courtesy of Terra. We have one of the Legio Custodes Contemptor dreadnoughts. So it's slightly larger actually than some of the other.
If you're familiar with the Contemptor chassis, it's a decent sized sort of dreadnought frame. And he comes up to about 2/3 the way up the torso. One of the bigger dreadnoughts, we've referenced it already once this evening, is the Duradio.
There he is.
So here he is with all the guns. And then there was a definite request in the chat.
Leviathan for scale, was it?
Yeah. So, excuse me, Mr. Contemptor.
There he is. So the Leviathan, currently the largest dreadnought walking on any battlefield in Warhammer. And as you can see, even the Leviathan dreadnought is a good shoulder plate smaller.
It's really interesting though, isn't it? You can imagine sort of the Saturnine sort of stomping forward with extra sort of thermal diffraction fields, tanking sort of the heat as they make their charge forward.
I mean, it certainly makes an all-dreadnought Horus Heresy army appealing, right? So like the concept of having the whole mix, or the whole family, the whole gang get together, stomping across the battlefield could look very cool indeed. So there you go. Some scale shots there. I'm sure we'll have some more various scale shots and things up on the Warhammer community website in the not too distant future as well.
Perfect. So, we've talked a lot about all of the miniatures that come inside Saturnine. We've done a pretty good job, I think, of showing you all of the stuff you get and how it scales. We haven't really talked about the rules
Again,
yet.
that's just because I've gotten used to it.
For that. Why don't we begin with this little primer about the new rules?
A new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy means big changes to the rules of the game. Players will need to adapt to the new realities of war in the Age of Darkness. For those generals who can master these changes, you will find new tools and abilities that will help you to secure victory. Battles are won and lost by the feet of legendary heroes.
I'm gonna lie.
There is now.
I'm gonna skip the rules section because I'm not gonna play Horus Heresy, so we're just gonna skip that. Because
What a fantastic primer on the new rules, and we've taken the liberty of cracking the rulebook out of the Saturnine box.
Yeah, I have been given permission to break the seal on the rulebook that we just opened up from our Saturnine box. So here we go. Let's open it up.
Now you're going to do it so you can keep it for now.
No, I've broken it. I just broke the seal. There we go. Right. So we have two reference compendiums, one for me, one for you, so we can play a game later. There we go. And inside this we have the beautiful new Age of Darkness rulebook. It is a hefty tome, clocking in at 3.
I mean, if you look at like your average heresy like Marine is like a little bit I don't know how much shorter, but they're a little bit shorter than like a Primaris Marine, from what I know.
352 pages.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have been reliably informed that
more than 100 pages at the start of that book are detailing the lore and the history of the Horus Heresy. So from the events that lead up to the heresy, so through the Great Crusade, and then obviously the things that cause the actual breakout of the heresy. Then you've got an incredible primer on all of the forces that take place within it. So the 18 Space Marine Legions, forces like the Solar Auxilia, the Mechanicum and so on. This is a really brilliant way of dipping your toe into the lore if you never have. If you are an established fan of the Horus Heresy, I've been following it since I was about 10 years old.
Emperor's Children
and there were still new things in there for me to learn. I really enjoyed
they're just fabulous.
Wading through the lore section of that book. But there's also rules.
There's also loads of rules. So the back half of this book is obviously the rules of the new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy, and we certainly haven't got time today to go through absolutely every rule of the new edition, but we do have a few little nuggets that we can share with you, a few things that Josh has already hinted at. So, let's talk about stats. This is the stats of a legionary in the new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy. As you can see, some returning favourites in the stat line. Movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, initiative, attacks. All the classics are there.
But what is this? New stats?
There's a new stat bit section at the bottom. There is an advanced stats section who broadly deal with the mental capabilities and fortitude of your Space Marines. You will notice that alongside save and invulnerable save at the bottom.
The Saturnine thing was completely out of... I did not expect that coming. I'll say that much. I did not expect it. Did not expect it at all. At all.
There are 4 stats. Leadership returns, demonstrating how good your troops are at taking orders and rallying when you tell them to.
It's going to be so for real.
Horus Heresy game have done. Essentially,
again,
they love this game and they poured all of that love into fine-tuning and finessing and adding new and exciting things for you to experience. It's the same game you already know and love if you play the Horus Heresy, but it's been sort of revitalised, and they're really excited to share it with you. We've talked a little bit about stat lines and the things that you refer to. The first place you'll find them is in the booklet that comes inside the Saturnine box. I'll show you. It's quite a nice little book. And in it, you'll find all of the quick start rules and profiles and things that you need to use your models in your first games. This is absolutely, there you go. It's full of construction information, but near the start, you've got profiles and things too.
Pretty cool.
This is great for your first games, and you could just play this forever.
So
if you want to get more out of the Horus Heresy, you're going to need the new Liber books, which are coming out on the same day as the release of the new game.
The British accent is insufferable.
You've seen there's new stats and new weapon profiles and things, so we need new Libers to handle them, and there will be 5 released on the day that Saturnine comes out. The 2 you can see here, Liber Hereticus and Liber Astartes, deal with the Loyalists and Traitor Legions. These are massive tomes packed with lore and information about the Legions, and also all of the stats you need, not just for the warriors, but also for those iconic characters. First captains like Sigismund or Primarchs like Lorgar.
G-Dub is weird. They do weird
They're
things.
not alone. There's 3 more volumes that come out on the same day, and they are Liber Auxilia, which deals with the armies of the Solar Auxilia, Mechanicum, which deals with the forces of the Tagmata, and then Liber Questoris, which is Knights and Titans. So the Questoris
so these
and
are their,
the
like,
Titan
codexes
Legions.
or whatever?
All 5 of those books are super comprehensive. They're fantastic volumes, and they launch on the same day as Saturnine. I can almost imagine in chat right now they're saying, but what about the Talons of the Emperor? Fear not. On the day of launch, we'll be releasing a downloadable PDF which has all the rules you need to use your force until your own Liber book is released.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a wait for the Talons of the Emperor Liber book, but it'll be well worth it.
Absolutely. Wow. Right. Good. Okay. So, now, what I would say is we've covered all the models. We've covered all of the the rules interest. We'd like to talk a little bit about the lore. Perhaps you've been sat there in the chat and you're like, what is this Horus Heresy and how do I get into it? How do I enjoy this enormous decade-spanning series? Well, our lore master prepared a little message to explain how.
So, you've heard of the Horus Heresy. It's the foundation myth of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, an epic saga of events so cataclysmic they shook the galaxy to its very core. With more than 35 years of real-world history behind the setting, including 2 best-selling novel series totaling 64 books, a tabletop miniatures game and more, it could feel overwhelming. Good news is, it's actually pretty straightforward. And to prove it, here are 3 surefire ways to get started. The first way is the simplest by far. Packed within the new Warhammer the Horus Heresy Saturnine box game is the Age of Darkness rulebook. This honking great tome isn't just a rulebook though, it's also a fantastic primer for the events of the Horus Heresy. It's loaded with artwork and lore.
Notice how he didn't mention the books first? I would have thought that the books, from my experience, the books are the best way to get into any of this. Like the novels, not like the rulebooks. That's what I would have said for the first one, but whatever. I know they're supposed to be selling the game, so.
Explaining the build-up to the heresy, introducing the Legiones Astartes and the other main players, and even has detailed timelines of key events. But what if you really want the story? You know, all those novels everyone keeps banging on about.
There we go.
Well, if that's your chosen route, you're in for a treat. Just pick up the Horus Heresy Book 1, Horus Rising. First up, it's a genuinely excellent novel and sets up all of the events that follow. Want a brief, spoiler-free summary? By the order of the Emperor, Horus has been acclaimed the War Master. Everyone loves Horus. It's all going to go great.
It's all gonna go great.
What if you're just completely time-starved and need another option? We've got you covered. The entire Horus Heresy series is available on audiobook, meaning no matter what's keeping you busy, you can get caught up. Walking the dog. Do it while Horus purges the legions of Imperial loyalists. Travelling to and from work or school. It'll sound better to the narrated events of the Dropsite Massacre. Frantically painting models for the new Warhammer the Horus Heresy army. You get the idea. So there you have it. 3 great ways to start exploring the story of the Horus Heresy. The only question is, how are you going to catch up?
Books. I will never play this game, but I will.
That was a great
read
little
some
lore
of the
primer.
books, honestly.
I have to confess that the audiobooks in particular are a favourite of mine. I've listened to the entire of the Siege of Terror series, and usually when I was walking my dog, so there are entire sequences that I can visualise where I was with my dog at the time that, some important person died. No spoilers from me. There we are. While we're talking about lore and things that are interesting, also coming out alongside Saturnine is an amazing new map produced by the Warhammer studio. Ooh. This is the Carta Galactica, the Imperium of Mankind at the time of the Horus Heresy. So this is post-Great Crusade. You can see some of the more troublesome things that are taking place in the galaxy have begun. You can almost imagine Horus is using his own equivalent of this.
Yeah, he's got one just like...
I wonder if it has any of like the Hive fleets. I don't see any of them anywhere. Because I'm assuming this is just like a, hey, here's where everything is. Because it's Horus Heresy, it probably doesn't have any of the other stuff. But that would be cool if it had like the Hive fleets on there.
It's up on his wall, he's planning his...
Though I don't know, actually, come to think of it, I don't know if any of the Hive fleets came into the solar system during the Heresy at all. I don't know.
The Emperor's probably got one hung up somewhere.
I need to read up.
Into the skin of
I need to read up. I know.
This is an enormous fold-out map, really beautiful, and just the perfect thing for your collection
and for
try
and find the map on eBay or something.
There's also coming soon this fantastic new volume, which is Journal Tactica: The Dropsite Massacre Part 1. This is our first of the Journal Tacticas that we'll be releasing for the Horus Heresy game, and it is rammed full of great content. So it's got lore, it's got scenario rules and ways to play to recreate some of those famous events, as you can see here. Like loads of great stuff for you to add some variety and interest to your games. And the thing that I'm really excited about this is we get to put a microscope over one of the most impactful events in probably the Imperium's entire history, right? This was the first decisive blow of the heresy and really changed the fate of the galaxy. And the studio team are exploring it in beautiful detail.
Yeah, I think one of the things about the Horus Heresy is that you do get to visit these amazing moments, especially if you've kind of come to it through the fiction and you've read the Black Library books. You're like, man, that battle sounds really cool. It'd be great to kind of reenact it. And this allows you to do it. There's a lot of the kind of DNA from some of those really well-loved black books of the very first edition of the Horus Heresy in this. It's just a really lovely book if you want to if you're narrative-minded and you kind of love playing campaigns and things like this. And the Horus Heresy is great for that. This is an awesome book for it.
Perfect.
Yeah, that does look very nice.
So we've still got some things to show you that perhaps you haven't seen. One of the things that I'm excited to show you, this is probably my favourite thing of the entire preview. Following hot on the heels of the release of Saturnine is a really impressive new kit. Perhaps we can roll the footage for that now.
Okay. More tanks? Ooh, yep, there you go. There you go. Intermission. Actually, that's a good thing, probably. I'm gonna go, tell you what, chat, I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I'm gonna take a few minutes. Oh god, I need to stretch. No Tyranids in 30k. Okay, so it was Eldar and Orcs primarily. Alright, I will be right back, chat. Don't go anywhere. Behave yourselves. Alright, we are back. We are back to finish off this Horus Heresy preview. Okay, how long is this little intermission for? Oh. Okay. Oh, my chair's... Fuck. God damn it. Hello. Fellblade super heavy battle tank. Oh. I'm gonna move a little bit so you guys can see what's going on. That looks really cool. Jeez, that is a big tank. Good lord. Wait. That's a Predator tank. Hang on a second. I have a Predator tank right next to me. I just realized that's muted. That's hilarious. Anyways, so that right there is a Predator tank on the right. I have a Predator tank right next to me. I'm holding it right now. It's a Chaos Predator. Holy shit, that's a big tank. Oh my god. Jeez, that is huge. Here, I'm gonna rewind it a little bit.
My thing I'm most excited about. I have loved the Legion Fellblade since I first saw one all the way back when Forge World first released one in beautiful Forge World resin. This is an all-new multi-part plastic version of that same glorious Space Marine Legion super heavy tank, and I could not be more excited. Here we go. The real thing is like 300 tons of armored fury powered by an enormous atomantic reactor. This thing is rocking 2 accelerator cannons. You can rip a Titan's guts out with those things. It has weapon mounts that you can see on it, so it's got the demolisher cannon mounted in the front. Those heavy bolters in the front can be swapped out. It's got you can see here some of the options, right? So you can swap out the heavy bolters on the sides for las cannons. You've got a heavy flamer option for the front. This thing is just a battleship with tracks, armored fury incarnate, and I could not be more excited. I want one now.
I mean, you can't have one right now, Adam, but you can have one fairly soon.
To it is
you
the
can have one fairly soon. Here it is. It is. You get a sense of just how big this thing is. But just to give you even more of a sense of it, we have brought along its little brother.
Friend.
Look at this. Trundling on stage left, we have a Predator, and you get a sense of just how big the Legion Fellblade is compared to what is a fairly typical sized tank in games of Horus Heresy. And if I lift it up slightly, you'll notice that the Predator is ever so slightly shorter than the entire length of the accelerator cannons on this. But you can imagine one of these Fellblades leading like a pack of smaller Space Marine tanks around. Obviously, it shares the sort of similar silhouette and design styles, obviously from the same STC source, but it is an order of magnitude more impressive in terms of its firepower and its just sheer mass, isn't it?
Yeah, I am just giddy about this. A bit too excited, maybe, but in all of the best ways. Such a great looking kit, and I can't wait to get my hands on one.
Loads of really lovely big areas on there as well to put your heraldry on. So I think,
absolutely.
The guys have done an excellent job painting this. I think the Iron Warriors colours coming through really nicely there. If you are a painter and you want a model to show off your painting skills on, this is a nice one to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see something. Hang on, I see something in chat here. It's on like the chat on my thing, but I can't actually see it in my actual chat. It probably got deleted. I don't know. My answer is yes. New Year, so I gotta ask, what's up with the big tits? They're not as big as my personality, I promise. Oh man.
I'll just give a nod to transfers. Saturnine, I put the transfer sheet somewhere else, but Saturnine has a transfer sheet in it with 1,172 individual transfers on. Some of them are very, very tiny. Some of them are like big enough to be decorating your Saturnine Dreadnought.
Some of them are like knee pad squad markings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, there we go.
There we go.
Coming in stage left.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So I always get a bit overexcited about transfer sheets because I can't do freehand to save my life. So this is where it's at if you're looking to detail your models. As you'd expect from Saturnine and the theme of the box, these focus very heavily on the Iron Warriors and the Salamander's Legions. But even if they're not your jam, there's so many other useful markings on it, you know, like tactical and veteran and whatever, that you're going to have a good time.
There's some quite useful markings for any Legion there. You've got like squad markings and
100%.
You know, tactical and elite and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So, we're still not done yet. There are still new and exciting things for us to show and share with you. But before we do that, let's jump across back to Question Corner with our Lore Master and see if there's any questions we need to address.
There are indeed. There's a lot of people asking very specific questions like army building, about specific rules like instant death balances. You guys are going to have an awful lot of articles going up on Warcom soon, aren't you?
Yes, so there are obviously quite a lot of rules changes across the new edition. We aren't going to be able to cover all of them here. What we can say is that we will cover lots of the rules changes in articles on the Warhammer community website over the coming weeks. So keep your eyes posted there, and there'll be all the nuance of how all these different changes are going to affect your games.
There's a lot of people asking, is the box going to be a range item?
So yes it is. So there will be
range items. Fancy words for will I be able to buy it for a long time, right? And the answer is yes. It's going to be a permanent item of the Warhammer range. It will sit on the web store and hopefully in your local hobby stores and Games Workshop, Warhammer shops.
Chilling in the corner.
I said my age there, didn't I, Craig?
There's a host of people asking about base sizes. I think in particular the Terminators and the Dreadnought.
I knew base sizes was coming, and I was ready for it 10 or 15 minutes ago. There's loads of bases in the box. The Dreadnought comes on a 100mm base. I think the Terminators are on 60s. They might be on 50s. I'll try and confirm it for you later, but I wouldn't want to bet my life on it.
With how many products?
There we go.
When is it coming out?
We don't have a release date we can share with you today, but we wouldn't be talking about it if it wasn't quite soon.
Yeah, that's fair.
Summer
just to
at
be
some
clear,
point.
Everything is going to be available at launch that we've shown off today, except for that Fellblade.
Everything so far except that Fellblade.
Absolutely. That's quite exciting. Right, okay, thank you for those questions. Next, we're going to show you some new miniatures, but before we do, we would like to show you a teaser of something you'll have never ever seen before. This is a clip, a trailer, if you like a preview. Exclusive extra, that'll do. From the upcoming Kill Lupercal animation that comes out.
Oh, guys,
next
we're
week.
watching another trailer for a second time. Oh my god. Oh wait. Oh. Okay, this part I haven't seen.
Taking ground fire, my princeps.
Voids to full!
Diverting power. Voids at full radiance.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen this.
Limited feet from the targeters, my princeps.
I have it.
Ooh. They're toast.
Targets identified. The traitor 16th, my princeps. Sons of Horus.
Traitor bastards.
Composing target solutions.
No need. Autoloaders.
Priming princeps.
Well, oh, that's cool.
Brace.
That is so cool. Oh man. That is really cool.
That was awesome.
That was really
cool.
cool.
Have the best job in the Imperium.
It's up there, isn't it?
That's really
good.
Princeps.
Eddie, what can you tell us about Kill Lupercal?
Yeah, so that was Kill Lupercal. That is the very first Horus Heresy animation on its way for Warhammer TV, for Warhammer Plus subscribers, and that will be available to watch next week, the first episode.
Next week,
nice.
all right. I might have to renew my Warhammer Plus subscription for that.
The plot is set during the Siege of Terror on Terra itself.
That's right, yeah. So in the closing hours of the greatest battle in human history, as the last loyal Titans march out into the field to try and claim some semblance of victory from a hopeless siege.
Sounds awesome. Perfect. Right. We promised you that there would be a few exciting extras that we would close out the show with. And so what we've got is a little bit of a preview of things that are yet to come. We do, however, need to apply a little bit of caution here. These things are a few months out after the other side of Saturnine. So we'll show you on the proviso that you don't harass the social media team too hard.
Yeah, that's the deal, right? So we'll show you the stuff a little bit earlier than we might normally, but you're not allowed to pester the social media team every day about when they're going to come out. That's the deal. And if you're not okay with that deal, you can start watching.
Yeah,
but if you do want to see some cool Heresy stuff, then stay tuned and we'll show you it.
Well, in that case, we should start with some things that maybe people.
He said, if you're going to do that, then you can leave.
On Warcom with the Tarantula turret.
Ooh. Yes, so this is the Legion Tarantula. This is an automated weapon platform that the Space Marine Legions can drop in from orbit alongside things like drop pods and other orbital attack.
And the awesome new Arachne.
And the awesome new Arachne, yeah, it's the little brother of the Arachne Quad Accelerator platform that comes in the Saturnine box. So if you do pick up a Saturnine box, you can supplement it with a few of these. It comes with a variety of lethal weapons. Some classics return, including your las cannons and heavy bolter options, but you've also got a snazzy new Volkite option and a melter option in case you want to drop in and melt some tanks.
The Volkite does look really good.
The Volkite is the best one, I think. I mean, obviously, they're all great, but my favourite's the Volkite. It's clearly the best.
Aesthetically hard to beat. It's not the only new thing that we're able to sort of hint at. Here we have the rapier batteries.
Yeah, so there's a variety of different guns you can kit out your rapier batteries with, and there are two kits on the way. One of the kits gives you graviton and quad heavy bolter options.
Nice.
The quad heavy bolter, I think, just looks phenomenally cool.
Imagine that rolling down the corridor with Mortalis Zone and just absolutely
imagine you're like, trying to defend a Zone Mortalis and one of those like rounds the corner and you're like, I picked the wrong corridor. Yes, but those are two of the ways you can build it. The crew that come with it are particularly cool. They've got lots of really nice little touches, including things like scanners and tech and targeters and stuff.
Almost some Tech Marine vibes on these guys, isn't
some
there?
of the helmets are a little bit Tech Marine, aren't they? So certainly morphed into Tech Marines by the time they've gone through a few STCs and millennia on the way to Warhammer 40,000. A couple of other ways these can be built as well. There's two kits on the way, with depending on how you want to equip them. This one comes with a quad launcher or a laser destroyer. So basically, whatever you want to shoot at, there's probably a Legion Rapier that can help you do it.
Yeah, the Rapier laser destroyer has like a long and storied history of just blasting armor to pieces.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm a big fan.
A little
bit.
Yeah. Now, they also have a group of Space Marines who control them. They are lovely and beautiful. But I'm ready to go to the next thing, which is a Mark II Legion Assault Marine. I've been very excited about this since they first showed it to me earlier on today.
More jump pack stuff. I'm here for it.
He looks like he means business, doesn't he? So it's not just a Space Marine with a jump pack. They've made some other modifications as well. You can see that his armor's sort of beefed up a little bit. The jump pack is absolutely enormous. It looks like a jetpack lifting that kind of ton of Space Marine right into the middle of the enemy forces. The chain axe is huge. It's like the size of a man, right? So you can imagine that coming down and just ripping stuff to pieces.
Can you imagine inviting somebody into compliance during the Great Crusade? Hi, we're here to invite you into the Imperium. Would you like to comply? My chain axe is bigger than you.
I think you would. You definitely join, right?
About compliance
so these are on the way a little way off, but they give you another way to put assault troops into your force.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially if you've gone for your kind of like Mark 2s and 3s, very brutal looking armour patterns.
For sure. Speaking of Mark II and 3 and brutal armour patterns, one of the most exciting things you're going to see today, Amanda in the chat has just gone wild. Everybody loves the Space Marine Legion breachers, and they are coming in plastic. This is a Mark III Legion breacher. He's got that iconic shield. He's got a bolter with a drum mag because reloading is hard when you're holding a shield, and just that brutalist look that comes with the iron armour. I love it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, they look great. I think it's an upgrade as well, so you can potentially mix with different armour marks, but there is something about the mark.
So I use breachers in my current Dark Angels army, and they are great. They're brilliant for locking down areas of Mortalis zones or for just dying slowly on objectives.
I think that they always look so cool because they've got that huge piece of heraldry on the front, so you can just paint them and make them look amazing. And even just like if you just put a splash of colour across it in a transfer, they look immediately cool.
That's all I've done, and mine look good. This one is beautiful, obviously, with the incredible studio paint job. Now, it's mostly Space Marines. Oh, we did that before. Here we go. This is a Space Marine still.
Yeah, there's more Space Marines on the way. We're only going to show a little bit of this guy, but is a Volkite gun. Obviously, bolters and disintegrators are great, but Volkite is another one of the staples of the Horus Heresy. But who is carrying this one? We're not going to tell you who it is, but feel free to speculate away. This is another Space Marine plastic on the way in the future. Beautiful.
Now, as I said, it's not just Space Marines in the Horus Heresy, even though it's mostly Space Marines. Here's a look at something that's coming from the Forge Worlds, maybe Mars.
Here we go. So, yes, this is a Mechanicum thingy of some sort. Not going to show you the whole model, but just in case you thought we'd forgotten about the troops of Mars, don't worry, there are more things on the way.
Absolutely, a little tease of something yet to come. And speaking of teasers yet to come, and so that the talons of the Emperor fans are not left out, behold, this is a beautiful Guardian spear for an Adeptus, a Legio, I beg your pardon, Custodes model. It's a new model, it's a plastic model, and that's all we're going to tell you.
That's true.
I'm quite excited though. I want the Custodian players to get their...
we just didn't want you to think we'd forgotten about you.
Yes, absolutely. And that is everything. We have shown you all of our things, we have previewed all of our previews, and we hope you've had a nice time.
Most importantly, Adam, have you picked your Legion?
That is a good question. If I'm honest, my t-shirt and my hazard stripe on my laptop are probably an indicator that my mind was at least partially made up. I believe I'm going to go for the 4th Legion and start some Iron Warriors.
Yeah,
I think it will work really
let's
nicely with a lot of
go.
the things that are
We
coming out with
converted
that sort of heavy armor, breaches, all of those things. I think it'd be a good time.
Let us know in the chat if you have picked a Legion for your for the new edition of the Horus Heresy and what colour you'll be painting your Saturn box set.
So, when this stream is done, if you are thirsty for more Warhammer entertainment, do not necessarily just leave. We'll be throwing the stream back to our colleagues over in the US who are currently at the Warhammer Open Dallas. There's going to be some incredible content there, including masterclass level painting from Golden Demon winning painters. Ooh. So if you want to see how experts do it and sort of keep up the Warhammer action, then you'd be very welcome to hang around and stay. If you want to see anything again that you've seen here on the stream, well, you can just replay the stream, or you can head over to warhammercommunity.com. That's where all of the articles about all of these things will be. So you can watch the videos back, you can get a reminder of all the things that we've said, you can watch that amazing cinematic trailer all over again, and we'll be updating that website with new articles over the coming weeks. So it really is the place to be. You can also engage with us on our socials. We've got Facebook and Instagram, and all of the videos will live on YouTube as well. So there is a great chance to go and relive all of this stuff, see your favourite things, get a close-up look at those pictures if we move them too fast, and really fill your boots. But for now, what remains for us to do is to thank everybody out there, all of you who have come and joined our stream, for spending some time with us, and hopefully you're as excited about the new Horus Heresy Edition and Saturnine as we are. Thanks to Alex over in Question Corner, who has done a wonderful job of keeping us in line and answering your questions. Thank you, Eddie.
That's quite all right, Adam. I would have just been talking about Warhammer on my own if you hadn't come.
Exactly so. So we will leave you with one more look at our cinematic trailer. But for now, thank you, everyone. Good night.
Based. Oh, one more trailer. What's this? Oh, okay. It's just the same. All right.
I was there when he painted this.
Okay. So we've already seen that. I believe we have one more. I believe we've got another video. That Dragon in chat here. Dragon, I don't know if you're still in chat, but we are watching this video that you sent.
The future of your business is here. With Wix, you get advanced AI capabilities. For more custom.
G'day, guys.
Hello, Mr. Major Kill. Can we skip this intro? I love how that right there is the most replayed. Alright. Alright. Let's go ahead and just dive right into it.
The scale of an atrocity is hard to quantify. If you skin 1 million babies and then beat their mothers to death with the still living flayed babies, is that more of an atrocity than nuking a world and killing 100 million people? 50 times more people die in the nuclear fire, but most people would probably say that the baby thing is a bigger atrocity. There's an element of malice and sadism that plays a part. So with that in mind, it should help us determine which atrocity the Imperium of Man has committed is the worst. And fuck me, they've committed a lot. See, whilst they have exterminated a lot of worlds, 99% of the time, it was because there was no other option. As much as the memes like to say, the Imperium doesn't just exterminatus shit for the lols. At least not most of the time. During the Great Crusade, only a select few ships were allowed to carry exterminatus tier ordnance on board, and it was a big deal when it was used. Sure, Inquisitor Cryptman exterminatusing a bunch of Imperial worlds to slow down the Tyranids was horrific, but it was actually a good idea. Those worlds were fucked anyways, so either deny their biomass to the Nids, or let the Nids gorge themselves and become more powerful. So I wouldn't call his string of apocalypses as a terrible atrocity.
For now, it's only on YouTube. I probably do want to set up multi-stream at some point, but for now, it's only on YouTube. For now.
Genocide of various alien races was also pretty bad, but in many cases the aliens were very hostile, and the Imperium was either conquering new territory or getting revenge for the aliens' hostility during the Age of Strife. In some cases, peaceful Xeno races were spared and turned into vassal or client states. No, the worst atrocity the Imperium has ever committed was the deliberate infection of a populated Imperial world with the Gene Stealers in order to study them, resulting in the world's infection and then their subsequent deaths as the Gene Stealer cults got out of control and the world had to be exterminatus. The kicker is that the Inquisition deliberately infected one of its own via her getting raped in order to then extract her and study her. The loss of the world was incredibly unnecessary and stupid. They could have done much more controlled experiments or just studied one of the worlds that they already knew to be infected, rather than literally just dooming an untouched one. Overall, an incredible loss of life and resources in a pretty brutal way for next to no gain. In my opinion, the Imperium's worst atrocity, especially when you consider the amount of sexual violence involved in a Gene Stealer infestation.
Why
the Elder aren't huge on genocide.
Why is that the first thing that always comes up? It's like, hey, you want to talk about sex? Oh man, anyways.
Or blowing planets up. But they are manipulative little shits that would rather watch an entire human world burn than let one elder die. So it's probably no surprise that the rise of Ghazghkull, the greatest orc to live in over 10,000 years, and a dude who has caused the death of billions of humans, as well as making orcs once again a galactic threat, only exists because of the elder wanting to save a few thousand of their own kind. Thus, the creation of Ghazghkull was the elder's greatest atrocity. See, Eldrad had foreseen that the orcs were going to attack the elder and kill thousands. However, if the Elder manipulated events so that Ghazghkull would rise to become a war boss, he would instead direct the orcs to Armageddon to kick off those big-ass wars with the humans. So the Elder did that as they are selfish bastards. Ghazghkull has caused the death of a shitload of people, deaths that could have been avoided if the Elder just copped a few thousand of their own lives. Thus, any atrocity that Ghazghkull commits is actually committed by the Elder due to their own selfishness. Now, you could argue that the Elder's galactic blood orgy which birthed Slaanesh was actually their worst atrocity, since Slaanesh is the literal god of rape, and rape is bad. However, that was more so...
Why? Again, that's not what Slaanesh is. I mean, there's probably some of that, but like, why? Okay. Anyways. That's questionable. That's very questionable.
The Elder being a bunch of retards than actively attempting to create a rape god. You gotta remember that intention has a big part in an atrocity. If you just wanted to have a hectic...
I wonder if he's gonna talk about Demon Kilaba. I wonder if he's gonna talk about that at some point. Just scrubbing through here, I don't see any... I love how the Chaos section is shorter than the Imperium section. The Orc section is tiny because they don't do it. And the Necrons are like, why are the Necrons the longest? What did they do? I'm surprised. I don't see any Iron Warriors on here. So the fact that he might not mention Demon Kilaba is very interesting.
Orgy, but then you birthed the Chaos God as an accidental side effect, then it's not really an atrocity. The Tau aren't really known for their war crimes and atrocities. They're pretty sensible and don't really see the point in blowing up worlds and genociding races. They have gotten a bit more brutal and sinister as of late, but their policy of diplomacy first, war second is still in effect. However, that doesn't mean they haven't done some bad shit. During the Tau's attempt at warp travel, they didn't realize that you needed a Gellerfield, hence hence they jumped into the warp without one, and all the human crew on board the ship died instantly. However, the Tau's dim souls went unnoticed by the warp creatures, hence they were able to survive. However, due to their horror, a Tau-like warp god appeared to them and saved them, bringing them back to real space. They were horrified as this Tau god was an abomination. It was the manifestation of the greater good. However, the greater good wasn't supposed to be a religion or have a god. It was a way of life, a philosophy. To see it corrupted like this as a result of the belief of human auxiliaries within the Tau Empire was abhorrent. Hence, these Tau that survived became extremely hostile to humans within the Tau Empire. Now onto the atrocity. During a battle, as these Tau arrived to reinforce some human auxiliaries and crew, the Tau turned on their allies and betrayed them, brutally massacring both the humans and the crew. As we know, the crew are pretty terrifying, but overall are massive bros, steadfast, honourable, and loyal.
Yeah, the Tau
kill the humans, but leave the crew out of this. The scene is from the perspective of one of the humans as his reaction of relief turns to horror as the Tau butcher his friends and comrades, relishing in the slaughter. It ends with him getting blasted apart by a battlesuit as the Tau pilot says he must be purged. While this wasn't a widespread world-ending genocide, it still involved betrayal, genocide, extreme violence, and a massacre, all because of a couple Tau that was super angry. This was as much of an atrocity as the Tau are capable of. Everything the Dark Elder do is an atrocity, so it's pretty difficult to choose what is the worst. They don't really have the firepower or desire to blow up worlds or genocide people, so their atrocities are pretty small scale. However, the pain they do inflict is immense. I would have to say that their first meeting with the Tau was their greatest atrocity. Basically, the naive Tau saw the spiky Elder and were like, "Yo, can we hire you to help us kill Tyranids?" And the Dark Elder were like, "Sure, but that'll cost you a bunch of Tau, because, you know, a cultural exchange." The Tau agreed, and the two forces fought against the Tyranids and won. However, the Tau realized that the new warriors the Dark Elder were using against the Nids were actually the fused flesh of the still living Tau that had been handed over, still lucid and in incredible agony. The Tau were horrified. They had just handed over their own people for them to then suffer a fate worse than death. The Tau tried to fight the Dark Elder in revenge, but the Elder simply avoided them, went to an undefended Tau world, kidnapped its population, and then raped them all to death. So yeah, that was pretty fucking bad. The motive behind all of this wasn't even that justifiable. It was literally all for a laugh. To make matters worse, the Tau then attacked Craftworld Elder, not being able to tell the difference between the two types, causing a violent war between the Tau and the Craftworlders that was really only due to the Dark Elder's atrocity. Overall, a mega dick move that ended up being quite devastating. Some people argue that the Orcs can't commit atrocities because they aren't malicious creatures, but that is some serious bullshit. Orcs are often very malicious and know that they are causing pain and suffering. There are scenes of Orcs pulling people limb from limb in front of their families for a laugh, smiling sadistically as they do so. However, I'll need to answer the Orcs atrocity question a bit differently, and say that the worst atrocity the Orcs commit is whenever they take prisoners. Orcs treat their prisoners like actual shit 100 out of 100 times. They barely feed them, and when—
Actually, 99 out of 100 times, because of Yarick.
they do, it's often their own shit. They work them to death or just randomly beat them to death for fun. It's pretty horrific. Imagine you were taken prisoner by the Orcs and they force you to make ammunition for them. Not only are the work conditions horrific and dangerous, with shit randomly blowing up all the time, but you barely get any food, water, or rest. If you give up or refuse, they don't just shoot you and walk off. They would torture you for hours to make an example of you, ripping off your limbs one by one, cutting you with rusty knives, eating you. Orcs are fucking terrifying and are just as capable to commit atrocities, if not more so, than the other factions. Especially since they seem to lack all sense of empathy or compassion. I don't even know where to begin with Chaos. They commit atrocities like I commit self-molestation every fucking day.
What did he
However,
say?
the thing—
I'm sorry, what did you say?
They commit atrocities like I commit self-molestation every fucking day. However, the thing about Chaos is that often those atrocities have a purpose, even if that purpose is as simple as praising their patron god and gaining power. They don't often just do it just cause. Even when Talos and his Night Lords skinned a world's populace to death and then brutally massacred all of their astropaths, including the children, it was to fuck with the Imperial's local warp area and sabotage them, not to have a laugh. However, probably the worst thing Chaos has done is Abaddon destroying Cadia and then splitting open the galaxy with the Great Rift. Sure, it had a huge strategic—
He was talking about the R word earlier on, and he's not mentioning Demon Kilaba? Excuse me? That's kind of backwards.
Strategic advantage, but it also doomed thousands of worlds to be consumed by raw warp energy, mutating countless trillions of people into abominations as demons devoured their souls.
I mean, that is
men, women, children, no one was spared. Many worlds now found themselves cut off from warp travel on Imperium Nihilus, which is a death sentence for mining worlds or worlds where off-world food imports kept them alive.
Yeah.
In other cases, worlds were left undefended, easy picking for sadistic Chaos warbands or Dark Eldar raiders. The Great Rift did a lot more than just give Chaos a strategic victory. It caused massive amounts of suffering, pain, and death on a scale never before seen. Not to mention the millions of ships traveling the warp when the rift opened. Most of those ships would have been overrun with demons or lost forever without the Astronomicon to guide them. The Great Rift was easily the most damaging widespread atrocity Chaos has ever committed. How about the Necrons? They have done some bad shit, but nothing they have done in the current setting, whether that be harvesting entire world's populations or unleashing flayed ones upon their foes, holds a candle to the atrocity that is the war in heaven. 60 million years ago, the Necrons fought against and genocided many races. Their war against the old ones corrupted the warp and created the realms of chaos.
I think that's a bit of a reach, but okay.
Their war also forced the old ones to create the orcs, and then the subsequent destruction of the old ones meant no one was around that could have gotten rid of the orcs or unfucked the warp. It also left the Eldar without their mentors, which resulted in them murder fucking Slaanesh into existence. Hence you could argue that the Necrons are directly responsible for the orcs, Chaos, Slaanesh, and you could also argue the Tyranids, since the Tyranids only came to the Milky Way due to the Horus Heresy, which only occurred due to Chaos. So pretty much every atrocity ever committed can be...
Another thing about the Tyranids coming. So yes, it was technically because of the heresy, but it was because of the fact that they were screwing around with Necron tech. Again, I'm newer to this, so I might be wrong, but from what I remember, it was because like I don't know, they were screwing with some like Necron like artifact or whatever, and then it just like shot off like a signal beam, and then that woke up the Tyranids. So I guess yeah, it could be Necrons for the win. Real.
Be traced back to the Necrons, since if the old ones were never challenged or destroyed, they would have led an enlightened, peaceful galaxy. I guess I should also start mentioning the Leagues of Votann in this list, since they are a faction. We don't have a crazy amount of lore on these boys yet, and they aren't particularly sadistic or evil. However, they have allowed innocent worlds to be consumed by Nids, so that they can harvest its minerals afterwards, and you can bet your ass they have mined populated worlds into nothing, dooming its populace. But nothing I've seen yet has been too spicy.
So I was
and finally, the Tyranids. The Nids' constant consumption of worlds is pretty fucking bad, but is the lion eating the gazelle an atrocity, or just the lion following its instincts and being hungry? Sure, the scale is a lot bigger, but it's the same philosophy. With that logic, I would have to say that the Nids' worst atrocity was the devastation of Baal, as they attacked the Blood Angels not out of hunger or instinct, but pure malice and anger for the Blood Angels whooping their ass in the past.
The only one who could be remotely upset about the Blood Angels whooping their ass was the Swarm... Well, I think the Swarm Lord showed up anyways. The Swarm Lord and, like, the Norn Queens. No Tyranid besides the Tyrants are, like, most of your, like, lictors and stuff or whatever, but, like, your, like, bog standard Termagant is not gonna be like mauling on the way to ball, be like, oh, those Blood Angels, I'm gonna sock it to them real good. But yeah, it's I don't think it. See, that's the thing, Matt. I don't think it is. I could be wrong, but I don't think it is. I think that it's a bit of a reach.
Ivemine knew it would lose more biomass than it would gain, but it didn't care. It wanted vengeance. So even though they actually lost the war and were repelled, the millions of people and thousands of Space Marines that were killed was a huge atrocity, as the intentions of the Nids was to cause death, pain, and suffering. Also, if the Nids won, they would have made it to the corpse of Sanguinius and then eaten it, and that would have been the most atrocious thing in the entire setting. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then pick up the Cyber Dynasty models. Only around for another 48 hours and then gone.
Well then, that was a video. Hey look, it's my stream. Well then, that was a video. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't think, that's the thing is, I I really don't think that the hive mind is conscious like that. The only one, again, like some of the only individuals in the hive mind that have any sense of autonomy are like the tyrants and by proxy the swarm lord, especially the swarm lord probably, or like the Norn queens. And maybe there was a Norn queen who was like, yo, those blood angels messing everything up. I'm gonna go send my hungry little minions to go kill them because I don't know, I'm petty like that. But, like, again, like I mentioned, your average Termagant is not going to be mauling about blood angels. He's just hungry. I don't know. It's a bit of a reach. Anyways. Alright, chat, what now? What now? What now should we watch? No, Dragon. That's not you. I'm just very, I love, see, I barely have any room to talk because I'm relatively newer to the setting, so if anyone has, I don't think there's anybody who has less, who has less right to say it than I do, honestly. But no, good video. Major Kill is always pretty entertaining. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm like a chaos head and I'm like a soy jack where I'm like, actually, that's not what happened, you know. But every time it's like Slanesh is just sex and all that stuff. Technically not. I'm just saying there are finer details. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, I think that's Dragon. Again, you're fine. Oh, Old One Eye! I forgot about Old One Eye. Yeah, we love Old One Eye. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a huge Major Kill fan. Actually, I wonder if there's anyone in the comments that's like, actually. The worst thing that Chaos did was making Erebus relevant. For real. There's like... Games Workshop completely wiped out the entire fan animation fan base. Fan animation, yeah, okay. The last one to kidnap a child is a rotten egg. That's hilarious. Fulgrim ignoring the siege and grinding Terrans into space coke. Yeah. Alright, anyways. I think that's probably where we're gonna end it tonight on that note. Salamanders, yeah, based. I'm a chaos junkie, so I'm very much like a nerd and a soy jack about it, if I'm being so honest. But that's just me. I don't know what I'm talking about. I only got into this hobby like a year ago. But it's okay because I have a sibling who's like super into it and he's way more into it than I am, so he knows a lot more, so he can probably, if I have I'm gonna text him right now. Hey Goober, I have Warhammer questions. Alright. Angron lore video? Oh, is it the Red Angel one? Because I think I've seen that. Is it the was it this one? Because I have seen this one before. It's a very good video. Okay. Alright. Yes, I love the World Eaters. The World Eaters are my favorites. Okay. Alright guys, my Warhammer junkie sibling is responding to my texts. So I watched a Major Kill. Oh shit. So I watched a Major Kill video recently. Just now. He said that Tyranids wanted vengeance, and that's why he just responded with death after I said I watched a Major Kill video. And that's why they attacked Obal. Is that true? Why don't you send hello? Okay, we are waiting on his answer. Is this the Angron video that you mentioned? It's Star Trek. Or is it like... Oh, okay, that's just anime. What is this? I don't know. Is it this one? Or is it this one? Because there's a few of these, or is it that one? Fulgrim corruption video? Actually, you know what? So... Tell me which one it is. I will bookmark these. I will bookmark them. And I will watch them next. I will keep a backlog. Hello. I will keep a backlog. Top one. That one. Okay. Alright. So I will save these, actually. Let me go back. Watch later. Then, what was the other one? Oh, my model's frozen again. Hello. Why? I love my toggles like that. I love my toggles like that. This one here? I'll save this to my watch later. I've seen that before. That's funny. Oh god, another major kill video. I'm gonna be so honest, I do not want to watch another major kill video. Anyways. Alright. So I've saved those for later. We are going to probably... Okay, hang on. Alright, so my sibling says, it's one of those dumb G-dub writing moments that everyone collectively ignores because it was never elaborated on again and not actually disputed later. Nowadays, it's just that Leviathan invaded the Baal system and was just casually Pac-Manning its way through the system, ran the Blood Angels to the ground and cornered them on Baal Prime where the final battle was. They're also on Baal Secundus, some other orbiting moon planet. Baal Secundus is where Kabanda showed up. I forgot about Kabanda! I forgot about Kabanda! Wes Hammer. I've seen a few videos. From Wes Hammer. I'll have to watch more. I'll have to watch more because he is very interesting. Wait, isn't this also the guy that's on all like the Tacticus ads? Yeah. Okay, it is this guy. I have seen like a few Tacticus ads with this guy in them. I have seen a few of these. I'll probably bookmark some of those at some point. Alright, so, tonight is where we're gonna call it. Come over here. Come over here. Watch Baltimore. Okay, I'll have to look up that. I'll have to look them up, sorry. Yeah, so, another Wednesday, another success. Reacting and low-key stealing content. Anyways. Okay. Let's see, what is tomorrow? Tomorrow is Thursday. We're getting back into Doom the Dark Ages tomorrow. That's fun. Success, yeah. Yeah, so we're getting back into Doom the Dark Ages tomorrow. I think, God, what were we on? I think we just finished, like, the forest level, so now we're into, like, the Forge or something like that. I don't know. But yeah. So Doom the Dark Ages tomorrow. We got another Friday coming up. So that's going to be very fun. They always are. I'm on the last of my edibles, so that's going to be unfortunate. I'll have to restock over the weekend. But yeah. Yeah, man. Okay. I will leave you guys here. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. We had quite a few. There's quite a few new of you guys in here, so that's awesome. And then on Friday, yeah, for the new people here, Friday, it's pronounced like fried, as in like F-R-I-E-D day. So like fried because I get totally fried. Appointments tomorrow. Ooh, fun. Yes, I get very high on Fridays. And that's the whole fun of it. We get high and we play Jackbox or whatever we end up doing. It's kind of like a little community night, I guess. Saturday's a little bit of that too, but it's more of just like with a few buddies of mine. We might play Buckshot Roulette on Saturday. I'll have to ask the homies. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so I'm going to leave you guys here tonight. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I really enjoyed hanging out with you guys. I learned quite a few new things today. I learned quite a few things. Yeah, right, yeah, Dragon, you should know. You play with me every Friday. Alright, guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you guys for coming and hanging out. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day it is for you. And I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys. Mwah. Model is wild. Peace out. Subscribe. Thank you. Even if it's just for the model. Thank you. Alright. Good night, guys.